What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of JoesTech. If you guys remember, about a year ago, Corsair came out with a new RGB LED fan called the HD120. Several months later, they came out with the Lighting Node Pro, which we did take a look at, and when we did that review, we looked at the HD120s. Shortly thereafter, they also came out with an HD140 model, which is basically just a 140mm version of the already present HD120. So as I mentioned earlier, we're going to be looking at the LL140 kit today, which comes with two 140mm LL140 fans, one 6-fan hub, one Lighting Node Pro, and of course your mounting hardware for the fans and the Lighting Node Pro. So there was a lot of confusion when I did the Lighting Node Pro review, so I'm going to try to simplify this as best possible. You can buy the LL140s, you could buy the LL120s, you could buy a kit that has 3 LL120s, a Lighting Node Pro, and a fan hub, and you could buy a kit that has two 140mm LL140s, a Lighting Node Pro, and a 6-fan hub, which is what we're going to be looking at today. So I know there's a lot of different options, and I'll go ahead and link everything down in the description below if you guys want to, kind of see what you can actually get. Another thing I noticed is that Corsair also added a kit to their lineup with just LED strips. So maybe you wanted to buy these fans along with the LED strips. What you would want to do is buy one of these fan kits and then buy the strips separate. Otherwise, you're going to end up spending more money individually on the fans, which we can kind of get into at the end of the video. There was also a lot of confusion when I did the Lighting Node Pro video on how all of this fits together. So I'm going to kind of break it down as simple as possible. Each of these fans has two connectors. One is a 4-pin PWM for you controlling your fan speeds, and then the second is a 4-pin RGB connector, which connects back to the fan hub. Now, the fan hub that comes included does not control fan speed. It's literally only for RGB functionality. Each of these kits can support up to 6 fans on one controller. Now, that one controller then connects back to one of the channels on the Lighting Node Pro. So you have 2 channels on your Lighting Node Pro, which means up to 6 fans on each hub connected to an individual channel, or 4 LED strips if you decide to purchase those later. So you could either have 12 fans or less, or you could have 6 fans and 4 LED strips. There's many ways to do it. It's just however you decide you need to do it. You can also have more than one Lighting Node Pro if you just have a ridiculous need for RGB fans and LED strips. But today we're just going to be looking at one of these kits. Configuration of the fans is pretty simple. You pretty much install them in your case, get them all wired up as I kind of showed you guys there a second ago, and then connect them in the Corsair Link software. Now, when I first connected this setup to my system, I used the Lighting Node Pro that came included with the kit, and it did require a firmware update, so I did do the firmware update on the Lighting Node Pro. Once that was complete, I was able to connect the new fans, which will not show up unless the Lighting Node Pro is up to date and the Corsair Link software is up to date. So once I got that firmware updated, I was able to add the new LL fans into Corsair's Link software and get everything connected. Make sure when you're plugging the fans into the hub that you put them in the correct order. You want to make sure that they are in sequential order, so if you decide to pick a specific effect that maybe goes in order, that they light up in order inside your case. So the first fan at the rear or front of the case, wherever you decide to start, needs to be in port 1, and then the second and number 2, the third and number 3, etc., etc. There's pretty much every color option you could want, and of course there's many different effects like rainbow effect or flashing of a single or multiple colors. I'm not going to go through all those because I've kind of gone through them on previous videos. If you guys want to see a comparison video, maybe we could do that at a later time. Let me know in the comment section below. I know someone out there was going to ask, so I wanted to go ahead and try it out. If you guys are curious if the HD120 fans or 140 fans will work on the same channel as the LL fans, yes, they will. There is a caveat, however. Corsair does say if you set the channel up as a series of LL fans that they're not programmed specifically to line up with the other fans. So even though it's not supported, I did plug in an HD fan just to see on the same hub, in the same sequential order, and I was able to get the majority of the lighting effects to work. I did notice if the lighting effect maybe doesn't match exactly, it does try to fill in the blanks, so the lighting will still be smooth across the case, but you can't expect the same exact effects to mirror onto the HDs that you get out of the LL fans. If I was to have a complaint about the LL series fans, it would be the two-wire design that we still see on the fans today, like we've seen in previous models. Two major problems here that I can see: A, they're not replaceable, and B, even though they're great for tight places, the wires are really thin, so if you were to damage them, again, not being replaceable, the fan is basically deemed useless once you damage that wire. Obviously, it's not really likely that that's going to happen, but what it would be nice to see is if Corsair, like one of the other manufacturers we've looked at, if they would consolidate those two sets of wires into one removable set that was able to and leave the control up to the controller itself. It wouldn't be a Lightning Node Pro, and it wouldn't be a Commander Pro, because if you guys have looked into the Commander Pro, it basically has your 4-pin headers for your fan control, and then it has 2-channel LED control, much like the Lightning Node Pro. But the problem here is I'm saying we need to consolidate that and have one set of wires that goes from the fans to the controller, and let the controller make that decision rather than having to hook all your fans up to fan headers or buy a separate controller. The last thing we need to talk about is pricing. As I mentioned before, I left links to everything in the description below because it's a little convoluted, but basically the 120 is $35 US, the 140 is $40 US, the 140 millimeter dual fan kit that we looked at today is $99, and then there's the same kit in a 120 millimeter variant, but it comes with 3 fans and everything we looked at today, and that is $120 US. So that's all the US pricing. It might seem a little high, but you're really getting a lot for what you're buying. If you look at a lot of the other RGB components that are out there, and the quality you get with this, the functionality, I think it's a great buy. If you guys have any questions, hopefully I answered all the questions you guys had, but if you have any for me, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. I will say that I think the RGB that you get from this fan kit is probably the best that I've seen to date on a case fan. It's a lot more vibrant than, well, let's just leave it at that. If you guys want me to do a comparison video on some of the other fans that we've looked at in the past, we could maybe do a side-by-side. Feel free to let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, please do not forget to leave me a thumbs up on the way out, or a thumbs down if you hated it. Thumbs down, thumbs down, thumbs down. If you want to see more tech videos like this in the future, feel free to hit that subscribe button. And until next time, guys, this has been JoesTech. I'll see you in the next video.